And I agree with you. Something that you said about the way you look, and I even argue, even when you show up for an interview, just looking the part. You know, if you're running for whatever, you have to look the part. So you have to spend money on a nice suit, a tailored suit, to get a nice job. So I agree with everything that you are saying. But one of the things I do agree with him saying is it looks a little different. You know, we do plan for the future, but not that we do put a lot of plan in Friday nights than we do. You know, I mean, we just talked about it, talking about the woman who goes out instead of watching her kids, or the man who does this instead of doing that. So it does look a little, the legacy does look a little different. We have to admit.
So I had a conversation. I had a lot of conversations with this guy. He owned almost $1 billion worth of real estate, and I would go pick his brain a lot, right?
Mhm.
And he had a G wagon, and he told me he was like, I bought a used G wagon because they keep the body the same style for 10 to 12 years roughly. So what year was this? Like 2014. So he probably had like a 2008 G wagon. And what he told me is because he had cash, he was able to pay I think $58,000 for the G wagon. The truck lasted him for 5 years until he got rid of it right before the new body style dropped. He told me that the average cost of that truck was it amounted to $1,000 a year. So he was driving a G wagon for 5 years for $5,000. So his overall cost was 5,000 in depreciation because he sold it right before for if it was 56, he sold it for 51. 5 years for a G wagon, but he said the way money works, you have to have the capital on hand in order to be able to utilize the deal. So of like the income tax check, people who only have 5,000 can buy a car that's probably worth 2,000. They got fixed up a little bit, pay 5,000, the car break down, and you got to take it back. At 56,000, you can only spend 5,000 because you had the 56 and get your 51 back, and you were able to have a G wagon for 5 years. And that could also be written off as a tax expense based off of the weight of the vehicle. It's things like that that people don't have access to. And by me being able to go and talk to him a lot, I was just picking his brain at all times. All times.
Anybody else to add to that conversation?
Yeah, so to what Marcus was talking about, I was watching a video just a couple of days ago of this young black woman who was talking about her career trajectory, right? She's in the IT world. One, we know there's not a whole lot of people of color in the IT world, and two, there's not a lot of women. So she's like a super double minority in that, right? But she was talking about how she was able to get all of these promotions so much faster than her colleagues. And part of that, because in the IT world, they tend to be very casual. You know, we talk about white women and their messy buns and all of this stuff. And she said that she had to find this balance between being very put together and not looking pretentious because of her gender, because of her skin color, that if she didn't combine those two to find the right amount of looking put together and professional and not looking like she was overdoing it, that allowed her in the workplace in certain situations where she would not be taken seriously to be taken seriously, right? So when we talk about black people and this image that they put on in order to try to get ahead, like, it does work. And that's the thing that stops people from over consuming, because we've seen it time and time again to some degree or another that it does work. If you're wearing something that has labels on it as a black person, that is very different than you having something on that does not have labels on it. I, we act like there isn't this double standard for the white community, right? I think we talked about this, like it was a while ago, right? We talked about how Mark Zuckerberg wears these very generic t-shirts. Somebody did a little bit of research on that. Those very generic t-shirts that look exactly the same as the t-shirts in Walmart are $600 a pop. they call it this quiet luxury, because the label that he wears is not a label that's recognizable to the general public. It's still a luxury item, right? There's longevity, there's quality to it, and that's why he chooses them. But at the same time, he's allowed to do that because he's been wearing those t-shirts for years before he reached billion-dollar status. But when Black people do it, because we can see the logo, we can see the little Gucci signs all over the belt, we can see the Gucci sign on the buckle, we see the Balenciaga across the t-shirt, that then we want to demonize it. But what happens is, like, the real luxury just winds up being hidden and inaccessible to people. And we say, look at that, you could dress like him in an outfit at a Walmart instead of wearing these brands, when they're not, that's not what's actually happening. So it's almost like a dog whistle where we're saying these things, but to people who really understand how it works, it's screaming racism very quietly, but it's only if you can actually hear what they're saying that, like, you're able to really point it out.
I don't know if y'all ever seen this movie called Dope. Where some shorties they start selling drugs online and got Bitcoin for the drugs. It was 4 friends. None of y'all ever seen? Okay. Well, in the movie, one of the guys they went to go sell to cash out their Bitcoin with was a dude who was a counterfeiter, right? And he had 2 bags on the table. And one was a perfect, like, 1-for-1 A1 clone of, let's just say it was a what's the bag that everybody you got to get on the waiting list to get, that's like between 75,000 and 250, I think 250 K for the bag. A Birkin. Was it a Birkin? So look, he was like, the only difference between this bag and that bag is who's wearing it. He was like, you're poor from the hood. I can look at you and see you're poor from the hood. I can give you the real bag, and I can give this woman a fake bag, but it's obvious she has wealth. It's the exact same bag. It's the person that's wearing them that changes the value of the bag. I was like, that was profound. And unfortunately, we try and put the label on to show that we have value, and it still doesn't quite equate to that. But if you could solve it internally and not care, that's why I always rotate back to that. If you could solve internally that you have the value, then you can exude confidence in whatever you wear as long as it's clean.
So Marcus, I want to ask you this question. So how do you, because I agree with what you say, but how do you reconcile that thought process with the working twice as hard to get half as much? How do you make those two meet in the middle?
So you would have to probably offhand, you would have to discard public opinion and not care about the things you working toward. Like, so, all right. If your ideal, it's a more complex thing. How can I put it? If your ideal of what the end goal of working twice as hard is still rotates around somebody else validating you, you're always going to be in that thought process, right? Ask me the question again so I could explain it better, because I don't think I'm explaining what I'm trying to say.
So this idea of rejecting what society teaches you to wear your wealth in order to be respected, and having to work twice as hard to get half as much, how do people balance those two to find success?
Success is perspective based, so it goes back to the self reflection. Success is what you feel when you feel you're successful. It's somebody that if they woke up today with 500 million, they would feel like the world ended. And it's somebody that if they woke up with $1 million, they'll feel extremely grateful. So it is perspective based. If that answers that question, what kind of answers it?
Yep, thank you.
My baby just came out. Hold on.
And I have nothing to add. That was great dialogue, you two. I mean, I can make something up.
Right, because you guys started talking about like stuff over my head. I had to just mute. And we didn't have any more super chats. I'm trying to read the chat or whatever.
I don't see any.
We're about to sum this thing up anyhow, because y'all know it is 2:08 in the A. Do y'all want me to drop the link? I can drop the link if y'all want me to, just for like 30 minutes.
That's up to you guys. I'm good either way.
Okay, I don't see anybody who wants to drop the link. Okay, go ahead, Mark. We're gonna end on your, unless somebody else has something to say. But go ahead.
No, my daughter just came out. I was just coming back.
That's all right.
It's all for personal. If you feel enough, then you'll start to radiate it out, and then you'll probably be able to attract what you need. But as long as you feel inadequate, it's gonna be an uphill battle.
And that's all part of the game Nas was talking about to me about 3 weeks ago. And it was much appreciated, taken in, and there are things in motion. You were so spot on, man.
Oh, wow, it's 7 a.m. in the UK. ISGJA is in the UK. Okay, you guys. Well, it has been a great night with you guys. Another Friday night. Did I push the man to the side to be with you guys? I'm just saying, it's a joke. It was a joke, you guys. My apology. You gotta have humor this early in the morning.
Did that just beep? Is it still beeping?
Yeah, it just beeped.
I told you it's they have to come. I have to change it out. It's no longer it's the because I got it through my security system, so it's not like I can just go buy another one, or they have to send me one to replace it out. I actually had to call them. But you know what? It's so funny. Let's just talk for 2 seconds. Even my door panel is going out. I think they designed it because you know how you have to pay for it up front, a part of the monthly bill. They designed it so that these technical difficulties can go on, and then you have to repurchase another one. You know what I'm saying? So after so many years, now that you don't pay it off, it don't work no more. It's not a.
I think I would just
Apple.
Like that. Yeah.
Apple was notorious for doing that early on with not doing the firmware updates for their older phones whenever they came out with the new phones, to basically force you to purchase a
Isaiah
new phone.
has a man. Sorry, I just had to say. Go ahead.
Hey, you know Isaiah be simping for you. Come on now.
Yeah, it's not. We tried it. We did everything that we were supposed to do, and so they just have to send another one.
So navigated the corporate world plenty of times. So just a little tip: go get you a quote from their competition, and then call them and say, "This is the quote I got from the competition." They also have hardware that does not malfunction at the rate that yours does. So if you would like to keep me as a client, this is your opportunity. And I promise you, they will send you pieces that don't break apart. So
yes, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So
I mean, I went to Home Depot, my last house, got a keypad. Home Depot keypad, $70. That thing lasted years. I'm talking about 8, 9, when they first started coming, years. This sucker, I done had to change it twice. And I've been in this house moved in here in 2020. And in this house alone, I've had to change it already twice. Like, what are we doing here? Like, it's crazy.
That's the thing. And sometimes you have to leverage your buying power in order to be taken seriously. So if you do that, you'll probably wind up with results that you'll be happier with.
Thank you, Nas.
Nas be on point. I'm telling you.
Yeah, she do be on point.
And she be dropping nuggets. I hope people be listening, because I know I do.
Don't speak about no nuggets, because I'm hungry.
You know, it's funny. As soon as we get off of this, I'm actually going to run to the store to grab something.
I was over here eating Gusher because I'm so hungry. That's the only thing that was.
Did you ever answer Marcus on what your favorite part was?
My favorite part of the Gusher?
Mm-hmm.
Shut up. Shut up.
I was just curious, asking for a friend.